Hey guys, just letting you know, we charge a standard fee for all the reviews that we do here. This is not meant to be an endorsement, it just helps us to keep the site running. All right, let's jump into it. Hey, what's going on guys? Tyson here. We're in Longmont, Colorado, and today we're checking out another folding fat tire bike, and this one is called the Go Express. It's made by a company that's called Go Power. Yeah, it's a new company for us. We haven't worked with any of their products yet, so I'm excited to get to check this one out. This is what it looks like. They make a lot of different electric bikes, electric scooters, electric skateboards, all kinds of stuff like that. And this bike, the Go Express, this is the 2019 version of this model, and it's a value-priced folding bike. It is $1,250, and if you order it online and you live in the US in the lower 48 states, you actually get free shipping, which is a great deal. I actually got this bike shipped to me, so I can share some of that with you. It did ship almost fully assembled, which you would expect that since it's a folding bike. But it took me about 30 minutes to get it all put together and tires inflated and everything. I had to adjust the brakes since I think they got bumped in shipping and were a little bit off center, but that was easy. There was a toolkit that came with it and even a pump for the tires. So I really appreciate that. This bike has good sturdy construction. I didn't really notice any frame flex, which is awesome for a folding bike. And it is easy to fold. You can see the quick release and joints here for when you do fold it. And we'll do that a little bit later. But before we get into it more, let's just talk a little bit more about the components that you get here and what you're getting for that $1,250 price point. We have some nice integrated stuff. The headlight, for example, here, nice bright 2 LED blaze light that's integrated and can be turned on from the control pad by holding down the up arrow. Love to see that. We don't get an integrated tail light. There is a reflector that ships with the bike, but no tail light, so just be aware of that. If you're riding at night, probably be a good idea to get one that you can clip onto your backpack, or maybe a helmet that has a light on the back of it. We do get integrated fenders, and these are interesting fenders. They're aluminum alloy, which is nice. They won't scratch or ding the way that steel might. But these fenders seem a bit more about protecting the bike than they do protecting the rider, particularly the rear fender here. It doesn't extend far back enough to protect you as a rider, so dirt and water and stuff could still fling up and hit you. So just be aware of that. It is positioned so that it will be great protection for, the battery and controller, this area down in here. So I like to see that. Got to take care of those electronics. And the tires that we get here, these are fat tires made by Kenda. And I like these tires a lot because they have a nice pressure range to them. You can go from as low as 5 PSI all the way up to 30. And so the lower end of that, closer to 5, is where you'd set it if you're riding on, sand or snow or some kind of terrain like that. But you can also lower that pressure down to get a more comfortable ride. So I'm riding down probably around 10 or so on the back just to get a little bit of extra comfort since we don't have suspension on the rear here. Now we do get suspension on the front. This is a pretty good suspension fork up here. It's got a good 100 meters of travel, and you can adjust that, of course, for preload and lockout. And I thought it did great. For a little bit of info on my experience with this bike, and this is one thing that I like about getting one shipped to me, is I get to spend more time with it. And so I did a long ride of 30 miles that included a lot of up and down hills, a little bit of off-road, and the suspension fork did awesome. Once I set the tire pressure down a bit in the back, that helped out a lot too. While we're talking about kind of the comfort of the ride, I will say the saddle was a bit firm for my liking. It's the dual layer silicone. It does have the rubber bumpers here, as you can see, to get just some extra cushion. And these will soften up a bit over time, but if you're planning on doing longer rides, I would recommend getting a suspension seat post. You can set the pressure down lower on the back tire, of course, but that's gonna cut into your efficiency, so you're not gonna be able to go as far. And for stopping power here, we have got Tektro mechanical disc brakes. These are 160 millimeter rotors, front and rear, and only single piston calipers. These are the Tektro Aries. But these things do a great job of stopping the bike. For some context with that, on my longer ride, I had some downhills that I got a lot of coasting speed going. I actually got up to around 35 miles per hour coasting. The bike did great. It was very stable. I didn't feel wobbly or unsafe even coasting at that speed. And the brakes had no trouble slowing me down and stopping me when I was going that fast. Part of what helps with that is these big 4-finger levers here. Really help you to get more of a mechanical advantage when you are trying to stop. And of course, since it's a mechanical brakes, just be aware those do need to be tuned and tightened regularly, which is pretty easy to do. And while we're up here, let's talk about the rest of the cockpit. The grips here, these are ergonomic locking grips, stitched leather, and they're quite comfy. I like these grips a lot. And we talked about the brakes here. The left brake does have an integrated flick bell. Love to see that. And the shifters, these are Shimano shifters, 7-speed thumb shifters. So you can go down with this and up with that one, and you can drop up to 3 at once, going down if you would like to with these. We've got the twist throttle right here on the right grip. And the display panel here, pretty basic. The SW900, nothing fancy. It does adjust easily for angle, so you can make sure you're not getting any glare on there. But it's only removable with a tool, and no USB ports on this model for plugging in personal devices, which, you know, I really like those. I use them, but they're certainly not a necessity. Well, this display gets the job done. And we're gonna go ahead and fire this up so you can take a look. It is fairly basic, but one thing about these SW900s is there's a lot you can do to tweak and configure them. So to turn it on, we just hold down the center button right here. And then the readouts that we get a battery here in the top left with 5 bars, and that's okay. You know, those are 20% steps, and it's not a lot of precision, so that can be a little bit stressful if you're down to that last 20% and you weren't paying attention, so you didn't see when you hit it. That can be a little bit stressful if you're trying to make it home on a long ride, but it certainly gets the job done. We have the odometer here in the top right, current speed, pedal assist level, and when we change the pedal assist level just by going up and down right here, you'll see that it changes to standard, and then you can go up a bit more, and then you get to power. So we have 9 levels of assist total. We can go from 9 all the way down to 1, or 0, no assist, and when we're in 0, then we get no activity in that throttle. So if you're maneuvering the bike, then it's a good idea to put it down into pedal assist 0, just so you don't accidentally hit that throttle. You can hit the center button again to change the odometer to a trip timer. And that's about it on this display. I do want to point this out. It has a readout for wattage here on the bottom, but that doesn't seem to be working. And it might just be on this particular bike that I have that it wasn't set up right, because that wattage readout never changes when I'm riding it. But if you do want to tweak this yourself, you can do that. You can go into a settings menu, and I'll show you how that works. So we have to turn the bike off first. Then when we turn it on, within 5 seconds of startup, you just hold down up and down. And you get into all these settings menus. You can cycle through them with the center button. And I have no idea what most of these do here. And so if you wanted to make changes in here, I would advise first looking up. You can get the manual for this LCD online easily, and you can also talk to Go Power if you're wanting to make changes. But, you know, it's not something that I recommend doing, because the bike will arrive all set to go, and you can get yourself into some trouble if you tweak settings in there and you're not sure what they do. So use that at your own risk. A couple more things to talk about while we're looking at the controls. If we hold down the up arrow here, then we can turn on the headlights, and you'll see the little light icon that comes on there. And sure enough, there's that headlight that's turned on for us. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off so we don't waste battery during the daytime. And you can also hold down the down arrow to get walk mode. And there it goes. I love to see the walk mode feature. Even if you don't use it a whole lot, it's still really handy if maybe you're carrying something that makes it difficult to ride the bike. Or even just maneuvering it around, you know, like on a driveway that's on a hill or something like that. That can really come in handy. Continuing on with electronics, let's take a look at the battery here. I like this battery, although it has a frustrating thing with how it's mounted here on the seat tube, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So with the key here, we're gonna go ahead and unlock it. And then to remove it, you slide it up, but as you'll see right here, it's going to bump right up against the quick release for the saddle. So you can't get it off with it, you know, set up like this. Now, fortunately, you can get around this by opening this up, and you can turn it to the side like this. And then that'll get you enough room to then slide the battery out. Taking a look at the battery here, this is a 48 volt 10 amp hour battery, and that's pretty solid capacity. That's 490 watt hours. It's got an on-off switch on the side right here, and then this is the charging port. It is on a leash, which I love to see that, so that the cover for it does not get lost, and it seals really well in there, so that you'll make sure there's no dust, dirt, water, that kind of stuff getting in while you are riding. No extra charging ports on this battery. We do have a button with a readout right here, which is kind of hard to see with my finger blocking it, but you can press that to get an idea for what your charge is at while the battery is off the bike. And it weighs in at 6.9 pounds. And this battery is driving a Sandra motor. This is a geared rear hub motor, 500 watts nominal and peaking at about 750 watts here. And this motor, being in a smaller size wheel, this is a 20-inch wheel, gets a bit of a mechanical advantage for that motor, and it does a great job. I was pleasantly surprised with the power on hills and even just cruising. It did great. One thing I do want to comment on while we're talking about it is this bike has really solid range, I think, for what it's quoted. If you look at the website, they'll say, you can get 20 miles range just using throttle and around 36 using pedal assist. I did my 30-mile trip, and that was either high levels of assist, 6 or 7 out of 9, or just throttle. I just cranked it up to 9 and went on throttle for about 6 or 7 miles of that ride, and I made it back with still over 20% of the battery left. So awesome job with that. And one thing that I do want to call out here with regards to the electronics is the sensor on here. So this is a Cadence sensor, and you can see that right in here, a 12 magnet Cadence sensor. That is high resolution. That's awesome. The thing I want to point out is it is not a sealed sensor. It's right here on the inside of the chain ring, and just something to be aware of. This is right there, so you want to be kind of careful with that it doesn't get bumped. You don't want those magnets to fall out, or that's going to cause you to get some erratic performance out of the bike. A lot of bikes today are moving to a sealed Cadence sensor, which I really appreciate those. It's extra protection, so you don't have to worry about it. Another thing that can happen, of course, is that this sensor on the outside of it right here can get bumped or bent, away or too close. And so just keep an eye on that. That should be part of your regular maintenance when you're checking out to make sure everything on the bike is okay. And continuing on to talk about some of the other components that we get here. We mentioned the tires briefly, and one thing I do want to add on these is they do have the reflective sidewalls on the side. Great safety feature. You also get the integrated reflectors on both the front and the rear tire on the sides that help with that side visibility. That's awesome to see. And the crank arms here, these are full-size 170mm crank arms made by Pro Wheel. Aluminum alloy on those, and the pedals are Welgo platform pedals. These are folding pedals here, so you can push this straight back and fold it down like that to save on space when you're folding the bike. And then to set it back, you just fold back the other way, snaps into place. It's got the reflectors on the front and back for safety. Appreciate that. And we get a kickstand as well. This is adjustable height kickstand. Works great, center mounted, so that does mean more stability since this is a really balanced bike. But the downside for that is you can rotate the pedals back there and come into contact with that kickstand. That's called pedal lock. That can be really a pain if you're trying to maneuver the bike at a bike stand, or excuse me, at a bike rack or in your garage. So just something to be aware of there. There's a few other things we can talk about on the bike here. Some pros, some cons. We do get some attachment bosses on the front right here. You can see these so that you could mount a front rack if you want to. No other attachment bosses. Unfortunately, we don't get any for like bottle cage or rear rack, which is okay. It's a folding bike, so it's it's not designed to be like, I guess what you would call a utility commuter. But if you wanted to put a front rack on there, you can certainly do that. One thing that I noticed that was a little bit frustrating is you don't get a whole lot of extra length with the cables here. So The way that they manage their cabling, I do appreciate it's really well wrapped. That'll help keep the cables safe and out of the way. But you don't get a whole lot of length with them. This is about as high as you can raise the handlebars here with the length of cabling that you get. And we do have the quick release right here so that you could potentially raise this up quite a bit higher, but then it's going to pull those cables tight, and when you're turning, that can be dangerous. So which is why I've got it set down a little bit here. So I would have liked to see longer cables there, but take that with a grain of salt. If you're not a tall rider, then you're not really going to need that. And for some context, I'm 6'3", and with it set as high as I can get it right here, it actually works out just fine. I have, when I have the seat up all the way and the handlebars set right there, I'm able to sit nice and upright. I would prefer, another 2 or 3 inches on those handlebars just for, I guess, ultimate comfort, but it certainly gets the job done. And if you're someone that's of more average height, that's not going to be a problem for you. I do want to say that I appreciate how well centered the bike is. We get this handle right here for carrying the bike, and that is for when it's folded, of course, but it works really well for maneuvering the bike around while it's sitting. It is pretty much perfectly centered on that point, which is awesome. Really helps out when you're transporting it. And so I think we've about covered everything here. So let's talk about the folding aspect of the bike. We'll go ahead and walk through that together here. So to start things out, you have to open up this. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. There we go. This quick release on the front, and that will allow the handlebars to fold down here. And then the next one, of course, is right here in the center. Go ahead and pop that open. And once you do that, kind of the trick to doing this here is you have to swing this out. And then the last step for that is you have to lift this, and it might be kind of hard to see for you guys here, but you have to lift this straight up like this, which will then release this kind of locking safety mechanism here. And I can't really do this with one hand, so we'll catch back up with you after I have finished folding it. All right, so this is what it looks like when it's folded up. I'm gonna go around it here so you can kind of get an idea of what you'd be working with. You can roll it around while it's folded up, but you need 2 hands to do so. You can grab it by the handle right here, and in order to really make it work, you need another hand so that you can kind of keep it leaning over on the rear tire there. And then it's pretty easy to roll around, and it does have the stand right down here that also helps to protect everything when it's folded. It doesn't balance on it very well, as you can see, and I did some fiddling around to try to get it to stand up just right. It doesn't really work. This isn't a big deal, of course. There's some bikes that they're kind of designed to be easy to maneuver around when they're folded up. So they stand on their own, and you have the one handle, so one-handed you can just roll it behind you or push it super easy. This is not one of those bikes, and that's fine. This bike, to me, it's really good for, it can handle a wide variety of terrain and gives you a pretty good amount of rider comfort, as well as working pretty well for bigger riders. And so it's not something that you would, take on the bus with you or something like that. This is more something that you can, put in your truck, your camper, whatever, when you're going on trips. And it works really great for that, as well as it's easier to bring inside and store inside. So you can, bring it into your house and fold it up so that it's out of the way. Or if you're riding it to work, you can, bring that inside and plug it in somewhere where it's not gonna be quite as obtrusive as it is when it's unfolded. All right, guys, so we talked about just about everything here. The only thing we haven't mentioned yet is the charger. I've got that over here so that you can take a look at it. It's a standard charger. It weighs in 1.4 pounds and gets you 2 amps. And so that's pretty basic. It's what most bikes come with these days. And so it certainly gets the job done. I'm not sure how long it would take to charge it, but this is, if you ran the battery most of the way out, then you'd probably be looking at most of the day to get it charged all the way back up to full. I appreciate the size on it, 1.4 pounds. That's small enough that you can toss it in your bag and carry it with you easily. All right, so we are going to jump in and do some ride tests. Alrighty, guys, so to get things started off, I'm gonna fire up the display here. Oh, that will be easier if I turn on the battery. All right, let's give that another try. Here we go. All right, so starting out, I want to give you an idea of how powerful the motor is. We're going to be going with just the throttle, and I'm going to crank that assist level all the way up to the highest, level 9, and we're just going to give it a go. As you can see, nice solid starting power there. We're gonna stop and do that one more time. I was on a little bit of a downhill slant there. So this is a nice flat straightaway that we're on now, and we're just gonna go full throttle in the highest level again. So as you can see, no trouble at all getting up there and hitting that max speed of 20 miles an hour. I feel like I have to lean forward when I hit full throttle on this, as it really takes off, which is impressive for having a rear hub motor. And that's of course due to since you have the smaller wheel size, 20-inch wheels, that gets a good mechanical advantage for that motor. We're gonna slow down again, and we're gonna take a look at the pedal assist side of things. And I'm actually gonna turn the assist level down a little bit, just because that was a bit more than I want right now. Something I'll mention just while we're talking about it is on this bike, the assist level, that goes for both the throttle and the pedal assist. So if you have it down to, say, assist level 5, you won't get as much assistance while pedaling. And if you're using the throttle, you also will get, it's like a lower top speed on the throttle. So just make sure you know about that. All right, so we're gonna look at the pedal assist here, and I wanna give you just an idea of how that cadence sensor works in terms of the timing there. There it goes. Slow it back down here. As you can see, there is a noticeable delay, especially starting out. And that's something I've noticed as I've been riding this bike a lot. So if I'm starting from a standstill, then it does a pretty good job of kicking in quickly to help me out. You know, I still have to go about a full revolution on the pedals. But when I'm riding at a faster rate of speed, I'll sometimes get 5 or 6 revolutions before it kicks in, which is interesting. It actually works well, because when you're going faster, you don't need it to kick in as quickly as when you're completely stopped. All right, guys, so now I do want to show you the shifter in action, just so you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to turn the pedal assist down. We'll put on, actually, we'll just go ahead and turn it off. Why not? We'll do human powered, so you can check out the shifters back here. So nice smooth shifting there. I think it does a great job. We're gonna shift back down through the gears here, up here at the front. So nice and responsive. It works great, like I said. I haven't had any trouble with it, so I think it gets the job done just fine. All right, guys, I'm gonna do one more shot of the motor with it on full throttle, just so that you can hear what that sounds like. Crank that all the way up. All right, so we got all the way up to the top speed of 20 miles per hour there. And so you can definitely hear it. You know, it's a rear hub motor. It's not going to be silent. That's what it sounds like. All right, I found this pretty good hill that's got, you know, some loose dirt and gravel and rocks and stuff like that. So we're gonna see what we can do cruising up this here, just using the throttle. See that suspension fork in action. So awesome job on that hill. The suspension was great. I have my tire pressure set lower on the back, which I've mentioned, and then the suspension sport did an awesome job. All right, guys, thanks for joining me to check out the Go Express. This has been a really fun bike, and of course, we've got the full written review back at ElectricBikeReview.com, and that includes all the specifications, the length, the width, the weight, the standover height, minimum saddle height, you name it, so you can check those out there. And if you own this bike, or if you have thoughts about it, or maybe you've dealt with this company before, Go Power, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can comment here on this YouTube video. You can also comment on the review on ElectricBikeReview.com, or of course check out our forums there. And, you know, like I said, this is a new company for us, but they've been making these bikes for quite a while now, and they provide a 1-year comprehensive warranty, which I like to see. And their support people seem like they're really on top of it. I've emailed them a couple times. But of course, you know, my experience may be a bit different than yours. So if you've had any interactions with them that you want to share, we would love to hear your thoughts on that. All right, thanks for checking it out, guys, and ride safe.